What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of the MLB Swing for the Fences show. You're on the Run Pure Sports YouTube channel, talking Thursday's 7-game slate, which locks an hour earlier than normal. So locks, an hour, 15 minutes from now. I believe the only weekday slate that we've had that kind of locked at this time 1 hour early. So, yeah, a little bit different here to break down the games. As always, try to pick the winners. And joined as usual on Thursday by Travis Mangone. Mangone, how you doing on this Thursday afternoon?
Yeah, we had some day baseball. That was fun. I watched some tennis today. There was a really good match. So I've had a good day. I've enjoyed. Had some good food. I had some good Jersey pizza, DC. I know you hate that topic, but
No. I love the pizza topic. I just disagree with you on that.
I had some pizza. I had a bagel too. I ate a lot today. I kind of got some good food, watched some sports, and ready to talk some baseball with you. I was talking before the show, I was like, it's a little bit of a complicated pitching slate, and you're like, no, it's not. And I mean, I kind of agreed with your takes, but I was trying to find more options than what we were going to discuss. But this might be a quicker show also because, hey, 6:05 is locked. We obviously got to help out the members, so we might not be on here for an hour and a half or anything crazy like that. But we'll break it all down. We'll give the people winners, and then we'll get on out of here.
Yeah, so a lot of discussion about this. Paul Skenes getting pulled after 7 innings with the no-hitter, pitch count running up there. I mean, I 100% think if you're the Pirates, you just got to pull him there. You don't get anything from value from your organization, right? Your top asset in your entire organization, and you're going to risk injury for an individual accolade that, I mean, let's be honest, it doesn't really mean anything, to the Pirates. Sure, it does to Paul Skenes. So
my take,
sucks, but
my take to see was you bring him out there and you let him throw a little bit in that inning and just see how it goes. If he has another 7-pitch inning, I don't know, then let him just try it at the end to close it out. I don't think
the problem is the closer you get, fewer and fewer outs, even if it's not going super well, it gets harder and harder to pull him, right? It gets harder to take him out in the 9th if he's through the 8th, even if he's got to throw 17 pitches or whatever. And you just start to get into dangerous territory with the arm. I mean, we've seen it from other pitchers who have, wrecked their arm going too deep into a game, chasing an accolade like that. So it sucks as a fan, but you got to do it.
Yeah, I understand. I wanted them to at least get him out there and see. And honestly, even if he had it with the 3 outs left, if he went 15 pitches the inning before, then you pull it. I was okay with seeing and even if the next batter, let's say it took him 10 pitches to do that next batter, I would pull him then. And I know people would be mad about it. People are going to be mad no matter what. So why not at least flirt? Let's flirt with the line a little bit. I just feel like we didn't even flirt with the line. That's all.
Yeah. And honestly, it's the sports world moves so quick. It's a one-day thing, right? It's people are mad for one day and then it's whatever. You're on to the next thing. So ultimately, I don't think it matters too much. Let's get to the winners tonight. As our guy Jake Swales said, we start in Philadelphia for the Dodgers and the Phillies. Obviously, marquee series here between two of the best teams in baseball. We've got Aaron Nola pitching for the Phillies. He's been pretty awesome this year for the most part, pretty consistent. He's oftentimes pitched better at home. He's about equal this year, but Nola has been very good. He obviously has a tough matchup here against the Dodgers, who, the lineup, obviously the back half isn't great, but still a tough spot for Nola. And then the Dodgers, looks like they're going to roll out Anthony Banda for an inning or two, and then Landon Knack. Hopefully, they think for 4 or 5 innings. Extremely favorable hitting conditions here, man. Going hot, humid, winds blowing out. Usually spells runs in Philadelphia. What are you doing with the Dodgers and the Phillies here?
Yeah, Dodgers and Phillies is definitely an interesting game because one of the common themes we're going to have on this slate is good pitching in kind of tough matchups. Aaron Nola versus the Dodgers is not an ideal matchup. And you might say, well, Aaron Nola has just been so good this year. The Dodgers definitely, they can struggle at times. Well, when you look at this game, I mean, Dodgers do have a healthy team total. It's also a 9.5 total. It's 88, 90 degrees. Winds blowing out 10 miles an hour. It's really hard to I think it's hard to click on Aaron Nola compared to some of these other options. He's 8.6K, so that kind of helps a little bit, but it's clear Tanner Houck is the guy on this slate. I think he'll get steamed up as the expensive option, and that could leave, and at least I've noticed on a lot of slates is like that leaves some of these guys like the Aaron Nolas, like not unowned, but lower owned than you would expect. So I'm curious to find out what his ownership is going to be, because like I think you could make a case that if the ownership is low, like it was a great play, and if it was too high, then you could be like, okay, like that was a bad play. I think it's kind of one of those plays. I know it's like, not saying it's a wishy-washy answer, but like, I think the ownership on Aaron Nola does matter to a degree. Like, and some of these guys are going to get steamed up a little bit more, and some are going to get a little bit lower down. Like, for instance, Nestor Cortez and Aaron Nola. I think there's a big debate on those two guys' ownership. And right now, Saber has Cortez over that, but does it come closer to each other, or does it come a further gap where Aaron Nola, who shows it, I think 18% right now on Saber, are we getting that at 10? Like, are we? Is that possible? Like, that's why I'm talking about it, because he's not a crazy play. I think at low ownership, he's a very good play. You and I have talked about this a bunch. We're getting a pretty nice discount for Aaron Nola at 8.6K. If I told you, hey, Aaron Nola at 8.6 for the rest of the season, you would probably play him every single time and just not bat an eye about the matchup and just do it. And if we're going to get it at low ownership, it's not a crazy idea. So I definitely like Aaron Nola a little bit. Yes, I like Tanner Houck way more, but of the guys that are in like the difficult matchups that we're going to discuss, he seems like the guy. And not to jump ahead too much, but like the difficult matchups that I see today are like Justin Steele. He's been phenomenal lately, but he's going against Baltimore. Tough matchup. I put Nestor Cortez in that bucket at 8.3. The Rays are not ideal for a lefty like that. They're going to throw out a lot of righties. And then the other guy was Max Fried. Obviously, we were worried about Chris Sale slightly against Arizona, how they are against lefties. Chris Sale's in that conversation. So I think of the good pitching that are in tough matchups, I think Aaron Nola is number one. I do think Tanner Houck's above him, but in those four that I just mentioned, I would put Aaron Nola number one.
Yeah, I agree with most of what you said. And, it's not like the most exciting conversation, and maybe not even what, the audience wants to hear, but you nailed it when you said Nola would be a pretty terrible play at, 40% ownership. And I think a pretty good play if he's below 10%. Right now, like you said, he's projected at 20%, which I don't really want him at that percentage, but I think it's going to be lower. Right now, we're going by the SaberSim numbers, which aren't always perfectly accurate. They've got Houck at only 29%. I think that's going to be a way higher number. And I think a lot of the Houck ownership, if that goes up, shave some off Nola, right? I think that would make sense. So I do expect Nola to be even lower owned than he's projected. I think he's a solid play. What about the bats in this game, though, Mangone? I mean, as much as Nola is a good play, I'm looking at Shohei Ohtani, Freddie Freeman. I mean, Nola gives up power to lefties. He always has. It's a great hitting environment. And, like, you can get bogged down in the numbers, but, the reality of the situation, when this game starts and it's Nola versus Ohtani to lead off the game, like, who do you favor in that matchup? For me, very, very clearly, Shohei Ohtani is a threat to go yard. I mean, Nola's got a mediocre fastball. He lives off getting people to chase pitches. Like, maybe he can get Ohtani to chase a curveball, down around his ankles or whatever. But, like, man, Ohtani's going to get his cuts in against Aaron Nola, or he's going to walk to first base and probably steal second. So I like the discount, or a little bit of discount we'll get on Ohtani in particular tonight. And then I think all the Phillies bats look really good too. What are you doing with the hitting in this game?
Yeah, I should have talked about the hitting a little bit for sure. And you cut out a little bit there because my computer was messed up, but I heard most of the end with the Ohtani stuff. And I agree on Ohtani. I think a good way to play the Dodgers is more as mini stacks. Like, they're just 5-man is not it this year. And it's like super pricey, obviously. Like, the ability to get in Ohtani, Will Smith, Freeman, Teoscar, like, it's just not that easy. And I don't want to just load up on these bottom of the order guys. James Outman at 3K, he's definitely someone to watch that feels like a discount right now. And obviously, I don't think that price will stay the same. You assume by, September, James Outman probably won't be 3K anymore. But Yeah, I think overall though, you can make a case for some Dodgers like in minis or one-offs. I don't want to ignore Philadelphia. I know Banda is going to go out there at first, and then they're going to put Knack out there. Like, it does feel like it'll be more of a bullpen game the way Dave Roberts kind of operates. It's not like he's going to have Knack out there forever, but this Philadelphia Phillies team is really good. They got Schwarber and Harper back in the lineup, and I think people underrate, like, this Philadelphia stadium is a hitter's park when July rolls around in August. When it is hot, the ball flies. Like, people don't talk about this Philadelphia park like they talk about like Cincinnati.
I think Philadelphia could hit a lot of home runs potentially in this game. Not scared at all of Banda opening the game. And then if you look at Landon Knack's underlying metrics, I know his surface numbers look pretty good. He's allowing a ton of pulled, relatively hard hit fly balls that have not gone over the fences yet. But if he allows, if Schwarber and Harper and Trey Turner are hitting pulled fly balls off of you in this park tonight, like, those are likely going over the fence, right? Like, they don't have to get all of it. So, I really like the Philadelphia offense in general. And then I don't think I'm going to full stack the Dodgers, but I'm going to get as much Ohtani in particular in my lineup as I can. A good running matchup for him too. He's just going crazy right now. So, yeah, that's my approach overall. Any final thoughts, Dodgers and Phillies here?
No, I like it a lot. I think we nailed it. I think this is a good game to get your spend up bats in. I don't think it's bad. Yeah. Like we'll talk about a cheap pitcher that we're both going to play. And, if I'm playing a cheap pitcher, I might have the money to get, an Ohtani one off, or, maybe I'll do like a weird 3-1 today. And it's like Ohtani is a one off. Maybe it's 4-2-2. Look
at the bats available. You've got Ohtani, Devers in a great spot, Trey Turner, Duran, Schwarber, Harper, right? All these 5,500, 6K bats look like amazing plays tonight. So, love the offense on the slate in general, especially the big bats. Let's get to the next game on the slate. Chicago Cubs and the Baltimore Orioles. This one in Baltimore. Hot and humid there as well. Obviously, the park plays pretty massive for right-handed power with the cutout in left field in Baltimore. Just every time I watch games there, it's like there's multiple fly balls to left field that seem like they would have been home runs in most parks and aren't in Baltimore. Justin Steele goes for the Cubs. Mangone, you mentioned it. He has been really, really good recently, but of course gets a much tougher matchup here against one of the strongest offenses in baseball in Baltimore. I don't really want to play Steele, honestly, at 8K against this offense. I'm going to go elsewhere. And then Albert Suarez, who we have played quite a bit of here at RPS. I know I have, and I think other coordinators have as well. And he's been pretty solid for the most part for his price point, and he remains cheap, 6.9K. The Cubs team that just put Cody Bellinger on the IL hasn't really been hitting. I think Suarez at 6.9K is at least in the discussion. And then, obviously talk to me about the bats here as well, man. Going Cubs and Orioles up next.
Yeah. The question I was going to ask is do we just respect what Justin Steele has done and consider playing him here? I think the problem is he is getting some ownership, right? He's in that 20% range. If he was 5%, I think I would kind of consider it. I looked at some of the matchups here and I'd be curious your thoughts. He had a good game against Milwaukee or two, but other than that, they are kind of some cupcake matchups, right? But the counterpoint against Baltimore to say is yes, Baltimore's a good offense, but Baltimore can swing and miss with them, right? They can, there are strikeouts there. It's not one of those matchups where we talk about the Guardians, you never want to take pitchers typically against them because the strikeouts aren't there. That's one reason I wasn't super high on Jack Flaherty today. So I don't know. I think the upside would be there if he was low owned, but I don't think he's going to be low enough to own. So I'm leaning on more of a fade of Justin Steele right now, just from the numbers that I'm seeing. I don't totally hate Baltimore, but I just don't think I'm going to get to them today. I just think there's better offenses. If anyone says, hey, I'm playing Baltimore today in the Discord chat, am I going to call them an idiot? No, because the team's got a ton of home runs. They're probably low owned. I don't think it's the craziest play, but I can't play everyone. So I don't see Baltimore being one of those teams that, makes the list for me today. But would I be surprised if we're on the winner? No, of course not. And I'm not playing the Cubs. the Cubs have just been so bad. I've been very disappointed in this offense. I thought they'd be a lot better, and they've just been absolutely abysmal. I don't think Albert Suarez is great. You could make an argument that, hey, if there's a matchup, like Albert Suarez walks a bunch of guys, you could make an argument that like this is a spot where you could hit a lot more home runs, this Cubs team, but I hate this ballpark too. Yes, it's hot out. I just can't get behind the Cubs though. It feels like one of those spots that if the Cubs beat me, they beat me. And I'm just going to stay away.
Yeah, I'm not playing the Cubs here. I'll play some Suarez, I think, in my 5 lineups. Yeah, you said
really?
you're
going to play Suarez. I think he's like not good.
I mean, he's okay. Like, I don't think he's fantastic, but like he's cheap and he's pitched pretty well, and the Cubs are bad. It's a good ballpark to pitch in. He got a good chance at the win, I think. He's gone, six innings, 2 starts in a row. I think he's a fine play. I'm with you on Steele. If he was like really unowned, which kind of seems like he deserves to be almost, I would be interested in him. But yeah, Suarez is the pitcher that I prefer between the two, honestly, which I definitely think Steele's the better pitcher, but for DFS today, I would rather take a chance with Suarez. And I mean, Sabres got him at 3% ownership. I doubt it will be that low, but I'll take the low ownership on Suarez myself. Probably not going to go to Baltimore bats though, even against Steele. It would be the right-handed power I'd want to play, but I just don't like playing it in that park. Let's get to Tampa Bay and the Yankees up next. Shane Baz versus Nestor Cortes in Tampa Bay in the Dome, obviously. Cortes has been pretty damn solid this year. I honestly don't play him all that much. He has, for whatever reason, been way, way better in home games than compared to away games. I don't know if that's predictive going forward, but it's certainly been true so far. And then Shane Baz will make his second start of the season. Played a ton of him in that first outing against Texas. Was pretty good. 6 solid innings, 6 strikeouts. Did give up 3 earned runs, 15 fantasy points. Was a decent outing. Was pretty good outside of 1 3-run home run. I do have a lot of confidence in him going forward, but I don't know if I want to play him against this Yankees team tonight. I do think he's an okay play. I think Cortes is okay here as well, but I'm kind of leaning a different direction. What are you doing, man, going with Rays and Yankees here?
Yeah, I do not like Baz that much, but I get it. I just think this Yankees team is a lot better now. Like we talked about like last month how bad they were hitting, but it seems like a lot of these young guys have turned around a bit. They've shuffled the lineup around, and it's definitely, impacted, their play a little bit and turned it around. So obviously not a favorable ballpark. I'm not saying I'm playing the Yankees, but I just don't feel like targeting with Baz. Like, could Baz get 10 or 13? I think, yeah, sure. But I just don't see him having a slate winning score. So I'm not going to play him. He does get that good ballpark. If you're interested in that, and you want to buy in on the talent and just say it's too low of a price tag, I understand, but not for me. I'd rather just find the money to get up to Aaron Nola or go down to some other options that we'll discuss. Nestor Cortes is the interesting one. It's a full righty lineup except Brandon Lau, who's obviously a good hitter. I don't like Cortes. He's like, if I had to pick between Cortes and Nola, I think Cortes is kind of bad chalk. And so
Agreed.
That's going to be a fade for me. I'm not interested in playing him on DraftKings. So no Cortes. I don't think I'm playing that many bats either. Maybe you could talk me into some of these Rays as a mini stack. I don't like it that much as the full stack just because, again, I hate that park. I just don't think all the runs are going to be there for that team. But couldn't a Rosarena as a one-off hit a home run or a Paredes? Yeah, sure. And there's value amongst that lineup, right? Am I going to ignore the mini stack of the Rays when I could play an Alex Jackson at 2K who helps me to get Ohtani and Trey Turner in my lineups when they both drop 30 DK points? Yeah. I'm not going to ignore that. So there's definitely value on Tampa from a mini stack perspective that can't be completely ignored. And then I don't like the 5-mans, and I don't want to play the Yankees and don't want to play the pitchers here. So we got more games to go, and we got some bats I'll like and some pitchers coming up.
Yeah, I mean, Jake Swales, Ben Sims, the Paredes, Rosario Meni. I would throw Jose Siri in that mix as well, 3.5K. He's got power, speed. Yeah, I'm not going crazy with the Rays, but I do think they make for a good team to mix in some power righties. I do think if they get to Cortez, it'll likely be via the long ball. And then last thing I'll mention, a pretty extreme hitters in Tampa, which I think really hurts both Shane Baz and Nestor Cortez. Nestor Cortez is kind of a guy who lives, on the outer edge of the strike zone when he's good. Might not go so well for him trying to do that today.
Yeah. By the way, DC, I see Jake said in chat, like Jackson's batting like 0-630 or whatever, like 63. Like I don't care about that. He's 2K and what he does for my full lineup, right? Like if you look, like I just pulled up the team that was in first, and like, I mean, Javier Baez got 9 DK points. It was the guy's lowest scoring guy on the winning team. But like the reason why Javier Baez was on the team is because of what it did for the rest of his lineup, right? It helped him to, spend up at the pitching. Like, so it's just about the construction with catcher at times. And of course, on today's slate, you needed Tyler Stevenson. Catcher's weird. It's either you punt it all the way down because like there's not a high scoring spot, or you get that like punt catcher home run. And then the other option is there's a catcher that just breaks the slate that you need, because sometimes at catcher, you can just separate at the position so much because there's not a lot of plays that can catch up. If Tyler Stevenson hits 2 home runs, it's hard to catch up there with another catcher. If Ohtani hits 2, well, there's other first basemen that can do that. Like a Pete Alonso could easily pull that off. So that's the point of the punting at the catcher spot.
I get your point, but I see Jake's point as where I do try to avoid playing like the true dust balls that like are barely incapable of like hitting a home run, right? Like you want to have some power at least down there. Again, I haven't even looked that far into Alex Jackson, but there are certain hitters where, like a Nicky Lopez. Like I really, really try not to get those guys in my line. If you're just giving up upside at one of the positions, which I do try not to do for the most part. Let's get to Oakland and Boston up next. I think certainly a game that I suspect both of us are going to have a lot of exposure to. Another really, really strong hitting weather conditions game in Fenway tonight. 9.5 total. Red Sox favored for nearly 6 runs against Luis Medina, right-hander going for the A's. And then Tanner Houck pitching for the Red Sox. Has been awesome all season. Is coming off 2 of his worst starts of the year. They did come in New York against the Yankees and against the Padres, who put a lot of balls in play. We've talked about that a ton. Here he gets the Oakland A's. He does have to deal, of course, with the tough, the good hitting conditions in Fenway and the A's roll out. I think 4 left-handed bats. How much better against righties, but I really, really like Houck here. He's going to be popular, as we mentioned. To me, though, I think he's worth spending up for. And, if he's going to come in 30 or 40% owned, 40% owned maybe, I think that's fine with me. I'm in on Tanner Houck and really love these Red Sox bats as well. I think you're going to have similar thoughts, man, going, but go ahead, Boston and Oakland.
Yeah, I mean, definitely like the Red Sox bats. It's hard to argue with when Luis Medina, former Yankees legend, is on the mound. He's not good. So we can tack him a ton. I just think the Red Sox are a good play. Just find ways to make it different, right? Whether it's fading a chalky option within the lineup or, grabbing these guys at the bottom. Like I think Dom Cheeks was one of the guys that was a good play a couple days ago. Yeah, he got like 25 on FanDuel and 18 on DK. Like there's ways to make it unique. So I think they're good chalk. They're definitely a team that I want to get exposure to today against Medina. I don't want to play the A's. It's not the daytime, so they won't kill us, as we joke about at Run Pure in the Discord. And I like Tanner Houck. I think he's the best pitcher on the slate. I know it's not ideal pitching weather, and like it's not an ideal pitching stadium, but I'm going to take my chances with Tanner Houck. You mentioned it too. Like the lefties are the worry. Well, that's the one thing that's at least nice in the Red Sox stadium is you don't have to worry about lefty power in that park as much because it's harder to hit the home runs out there, which just shows how good Rafael Devers is. The fact that he's a lefty and just smashes all the time at that ballpark. So overall, definitely want to get exposure to the Red Sox. Not excited to play any of the A's. And I obviously like Tanner Houck. I think he's the best play on the slate, and I'll fade other pitchers to get unique.
Yeah, I think Houck's going to mow down the right-handers in the Oakland lineup, and I think the lefties, you can just kind of pound the strike zone and let them hit it, and they just don't have that much power to really hurt him. So really, really like Houck. I think he, to me, has the highest floor and the highest ceiling of any pitcher on the slate. Not always the case that it's the same pitcher that has both, but for me, I do think that's the case with Tanner Houck tonight. And yeah, Boston, I think you can play almost anybody in that Boston lineup. I do expect them to do a ton of damage. Devers and Duran, my top two, but those are the two highest price. So I don't see a reason to really get too in the weeds on the Boston guys. Just kind of load up the wagons if you're in on Boston, and I think they'll do pretty well when it's all said and done. Let's get to the next game. 3 more games to talk about. Miami and Houston, two inexperienced pitchers. We've got Jake Bloss pitching for the Houston Astros and Roddery Munoz going for the Marlins. They're both in the low to mid 6K range. And they do have a good pitchers umpire here. 2 more cheap pitchers. Any interest here, Mango? I think you're muted.
I haven't been muted in a while. That was a mistake by me. So chat got me there. But I was saying, I don't think Munoz is a guy I want to play against the Astros. Like if he was playing the Reds, I would be curious about his ceiling there. I'm not saying he'd crush, but I just don't love the ceiling against this Astros team. I don't mind taking good pitchers against the Astros, but I really don't want to take a guy like Munoz. So I'm a little worried to play him. I don't think he's worth taking a shot on. I know we talk about gambling with these cheap options at times, and I don't really want to do it with Jake Bloss either. I just don't. I mean, he did go 79 pitches, I guess, against Baltimore. I just feel like he's not going to be stretched out enough. Like, am I going to get up to that 90 mark? I don't know. It is the Marlins, so you can make the argument that you get a lot of quick innings against them, and maybe you can find a way to get it done. I just prefer this 4K guy who we're about to get to, that I'd rather just kind of just shove on him and play him and call it a day. Unless you could maybe talk me into the Bloss thing. I didn't realize his pitch count was a little bit better, so maybe I should have considered that more.
Well, so he was pitching in Double-A for most of the year. As a starter, they let him throw essentially in the mid-80s for pitch count, like pretty much every time out. Then he got called up for that outing against the Orioles back on June 21st. He threw 76 pitches there. So they did kind of view him as close to a full-time starter. I believe he went on the IL after that, and then made one appearance in AAA where he threw 55 pitches. That's his last outing. So I think around 70 here, which to me, I don't think that's enough. What about you? If 70 Joe Bloss pitches, I don't think so.
Yeah, I don't think so. I was worrying because not a lot of stuff added up with when I was looking at when he was in and stuff. So
yeah,
I'm glad you kind of did a deep dive on that. But yeah, I don't think I'm just playing him. I'll play this other guy that we'll talk about. I should talk a little bit about the Astros because the Astros cannot be ignored, I think, right now. So they did obviously once they lost Kyle Tucker, it was kind of a little frustrating because the lineup got a lot more watered down. But ever since some of these guys have kind of started hitting the ball a little bit better, and they've I'd say over the course of like when they first lost Kyle Tucker, they struggled. But some of these younger guys, they just need to get their feet wet, and they're just playing a lot better ball now, where I kind of think they're good buy low spots on their salaries, like Jake Myers at 3.4, Joey Loperfido at 2.8, even Singleton at 3.2. He's been hitting the ball weather. It feels like all of those guys that were not that top three, like the Bregman, the Altuve, the Jordans, all the guys below, it feels like collectively they're all just hitting a lot better. And it's been over the course of the past month and a half or so. So I'm willing to take a shot on the Astros. And the thing I just like about the way the lineup is constructed is you can actually jam in the good Astros bats, like a Jordan and one of Altuve or Bregman, get in 3 values and still get in stud pitching. So it's definitely still a pretty favorable lineup to stack up because of some of the pricing. If you asked me a month ago, I wouldn't have been as interested in this Astros team, but I think collectively they're just getting a lot better, and the prices have not gone up and accounted for that.
So no Jordan in the lineup for the Astros, which does I think lower the appeal of the stack a little bit. But I'm with you. I think like the bottom half, Loper Fido, Jake Myers, Salazar is a cheap catcher. I think all those guys are pretty interesting. Roderick Munoz appears to be just kind of generally bad at everything when it comes to. He just shouldn't be making starts in the big leagues. I guess is kind of my point.
He walks guys, DC, right? Which is one thing that we look for. He's got a
wild. He's just not. He's not ready. They're just kind of out of arms. Somebody's got to take the ball their fifth day. So Roderick Munoz is in the rotation out of necessity, not out of not out of merit, I guess. So yeah, I like the Astros quite a bit. I don't like them as much as Boston, but yeah, I think they are. Yeah, maybe the Phillies, but definitely on the list are the Houston Astros. I'll say this again. I don't think I'm going to get to Joe Blas. I do think he's got a pretty good chance to pitch well here. I kind of looking at some more stuff. I didn't know that much about him coming into today. I think there might be some talent there. So maybe not the craziest play at 6,200, even with 70-ish pitches. Listen, I mean, you take 12, 15, I think, at that price point and try to win with bats. So I don't hate the Joe Blas play if people are really trying to save salary. Let's get to Seattle and the LA Angels. We've got Luis Castillo pitching for the Mariners. Obviously a decent option here at 9,200 against a light-hitting Angels team. He did face them once this year. Pitched very well, no surprise. We like Castillo better at home, of course, but he is still on the West Coast in Los Angeles. So not a bad spot for Castillo. And then making his big league debut is Jack Kochanowicz. We'll go with that. Kochanowicz, who I had not heard of until today. But he is 4K. He's facing the Mariners, and we pretty much stream, especially right-handed pitchers against the Mariners, just, almost blindly, ad nauseum, whatever you want to call it, or at least I do. And, man, it works out very often. I'll say this too about Kochanowicz. I don't know if you looked up his game log in the minor leagues, man, going 2 of his last 3 games, he threw complete games, 9 innings, which is pretty wild, right? He has a super high ground ball percentage. I don't think he's like a flamethrower or anything like that, but he throws a lot of strikes, gets a lot of ground balls. They let him throw like 105 pitches a lot of the time when he's out there. And I don't know. I think he's going to get like 6 innings against this Mariners team at 4K. To me, I got to have interest here. I think you're the same way.
Yeah, I'm just playing him. I think it's worth taking a shot on. I'm going to jam in the 4K pitcher. And, if it beats me, we'll come back tomorrow, right? I'll get punched in the mouth, and I'll have a black eye, and I'll wake up, and I'll come back after tomorrow. I just
you can't play scared, though. Like, if you really think, like I do, that he's clearly the best play on the slate, once you take into account all the bats they're to spend for, his price, the matchup. I don't know. I'm willing to just lose with him and, move on to tomorrow if it doesn't work out.
Like, to be honest, I kicked myself yesterday because I kind of said that anytime the Marlins are going against a lefty, I'm just going to lock that pitcher. And on FanDuel, I stared at Valdez and I said, do I lock him on these 50 that I'm playing? And I didn't. And at the end of the night, my best teams were all the Valdez teams. And, I did have overweight on Valdez. I was overweight on Houck, and then I had some other guys sprinkled in. But, I kind of wanted to lock him. And so I want to make sure I, do that with him today. I'm going to load up on him. I think he's good. 4K. I think you just got to play him. So I'm playing him. Anyone against the Mariners, I want to play and just call it a day. So going to play him. I'm not going to play the Mariners, I don't think, here. I think there are spots where they make sense. Maybe they make sense on the night slate, but not here. So I'm not really that interested in the Mariners team. I'll talk about Castillo a little bit. I mean, Castillo has definitely had his struggles on the road. And one thing to call out with this Angels team is they're not striking out a lot right now. I wouldn't ignore some Angels mini stacks against Castillo. I don't think Castillo's that good anymore. That you can make a case for like a value of one off of like a Mickey Moniak who's been hitting the ball a lot better. Taylor Ward, Nolan Chanel. Like I'm not ignoring the Angels as my mini stack if I need some salary relief or as one-offs, just because I don't think Castillo's as good as he has been. And he's on the road, and I don't think it's the craziest play to get some exposure to them as just cheap value plays that are going to be unowned.
Yeah, I think that's fine. He does give up power. Castillo does. Not a bad place to hit tonight. So I have some interest in Castillo. I mean, the matchup's still good. He's still a good pitcher. I agree with you. He's not like a top-tier ace, but I do think he's a fine play at 9,200. I do prefer him to Aaron Nola. Looks like they could have somewhat similar ownership on the slate. Looks like, I don't know, maybe Castillo, they've got him at like 30% ownership, which feels a little high for me. So, yeah, I definitely prefer the Kokanowitz side. Last game on the slate, Mangum, we've got Arizona and the Atlanta Braves. Max Fried pitching for the Atlanta Braves, obviously lefties against Arizona. I'm scared of it. I didn't play, I don't think, any Chris Sale against them. What did he end up with? Like 20-ish? So,
yeah, Sale was fine. Wasn't bad, but wasn't like you needed him.
Felt okay about the fade at the end of the night after that performance. And I'm not playing Fried here either. So few strikeouts to be had against Arizona. They've obviously got a ton of power. Sale was pitching well until he gave up a couple runs, and then it was just a mediocre outing for his price point. So I'm gonna kind of stick to that take and not play. I don't think any Max Fried here. I'm not trying to load up on Arizona either, but not going to end up on a ton of Fried. Looks like Brandon Pfaadt is going to get some ownership. Hard to argue too much with that. He is pitching at homer. He's been good. This Braves lineup obviously has been disappointing overall. So I don't hate the Pfaadt play at 7,300, but I really like the 4K guy, and I really like Tanner Houck, because I don't know how much Pfaadt I'm going to end up with. What are you doing with this game, Diamondbacks and Braves?
Yeah, Brandon Pfaadt, man, he's going to be owned today, and I mean, I don't think he's bad, mainly because I've been riding this play a pitcher against the Braves train, and I'm not going to stop. I think it's working out, and I think Pfaadt's a solid play. So I'm going to have exposure to him. I'm going to have no exposure to Fried. I am going to have some exposure to Arizona. I do not want to ignore them today. I think they're a very good play. Also, Atlanta's bullpen's not good, and neither is Arizona. Something that I would look out for, just a little live betting opportunity. If we're through 5 innings of this game and the score is 1-0 or something, slam the over, because these bullpens both suck. They've been getting beat up. I wouldn't be surprised if they get beat up tonight, especially wouldn't be shocked if Max Fried is doing solid and then all of a sudden he just gets absolutely whacked for like a 3-run shot in the 5th inning or 6th inning before he gets pulled, because Arizona lineup's good, man. I definitely don't want to ignore them. I think they're good in GPPs, and I'm going to get exposure to Arizona. I'm not saying I'm going to play 50% or something crazy, but I want to get overweight on them. I know Max Fried is this guy that people think is this soft tossing guy that just gets through and limits the damage, but he can have blow up games. He can have games where he just can't find the zone. We've seen it a lot from him. So I'm definitely willing to play Arizona.
My only problem with going against Fried is it just doesn't give up much power. Sale gives up way more home runs, fly balls than Fried does. So,
but he just walks. He just walks guys at times when he gets back.
Yeah, at times. But a bunch of
that's what you're playing for. I'm playing Arizona for that start. So I'm playing it for the start where I want to have guys on base, right? I'm hoping I get the bad Max Fried where he just can't. He just doesn't have it. It doesn't find the location at the plate.
Yeah. For sure. That makes sense. That's all 7 games. We do need to get out a little bit early to make our own lineups with the earlier lock. So with that, Mangum, let's get to the stacks, your favorite stack on the slate and your favorite contrarian stack.
Yeah. Favorite stack will probably go with, it's probably Boston. It's hard to argue with Boston. They're probably my favorite stack of the slate. So I'll make them number 1. And my contrarian stack is going to be the Arizona Diamondbacks, a little late night hammer. So that's always a good time. Nothing better than having the PMR wait in if other bats haven't done well. So definitely on Arizona today.
I've got to go with Boston as well. And I don't even think they're going to be that contrarian, but I really like the Phillies here. You know, if there's not any contrarian stacks that you're playing, which I don't think there really are for me, then I can't really list one as my favorite, right? If I'm not playing it. So Boston and Philly are the two teams that I'm trying to get a lot of tonight. Most important pitcher on this slate, Mangone? I feel like we might have the same answer to this one. Go ahead.
Yeah, I think it's our 4K guy, Mr. Is it Jack K? Is that his name?
Yeah, Joe will go Jack K. That sounds good.
Jack K. Jack K is my guy today for sure. But I do think a guy that I'll be overweight on that maybe the field won't be is Aaron Nola. I'll put him in the conversation for that way we can at least like give like a little bit of a yes, that's a stand that we're playing the 4K guy, but I want to give more than just hey, we're both playing this guy and move on. But Aaron Nola, I think, is one guy that I'll try to get over the field on that maybe people won't be on.
I think we should call him Jack and Coke. Jack and Coke for Mr.
There we go. I like it.
Yeah. He's got to earn it tonight, though. If he sucks, he gets stripped of his nickname. I'm going to play a ton of him, too. My most popular combination is undoubtedly going to be Haug and Jack and Coke down there. So, yeah, hopefully these are the ones I kind of wish it was like the first game of the night, so you know early it sucks. It's like having your night bang on the 4K cheap pitcher because it can go either direction for sure. Home run call, man. Who's going yard tonight?
Yeah, a home run call. Let's see. I'm trying to pull it up real quick. Let's go with. I mean, I want to take a Red Sox for sure. Well, I'll save a Red Sox for the favorite play. Let's go with a Diamondback as the home run call against Fried. Let's go with Christian Walker. Christian Walker has been absolutely nuking this month, so we're going to hit Christian Walker takes Max Fried yard during this game.
I got Alec Bohm gets one in the first inning off of Banda, and hopefully he continues the party. I do like the Jose Siri call as well for a home run. Finally, Mangone, your favorite hitter on the slate.
Yeah, favorite hitter on the slate. We'll go with Rafael Devers. I mean, Devers is just if you're playing Boston, you want some Devers exposure today. Don't not play him. He's going to absolutely crush. Like Duran's definitely been struggling. I'm not trying to jinx it or make him now be the best player of the slate. But if I'm spending up for a Red Sox, I want to jam in Devers.
And since we're playing the 4K pitcher for a reason, I'll spend up as well and say Shohei Ohtani, I think, is the best play on the slate. Get some leverage against Nola. Good running matchup, good power matchup. Absolutely love Mr. Ohtani tonight. That'll do it for this show. We appreciate all you guys tuning in. Hit the like button if you haven't yet done so on your way out. Half an hour before lock, we'll, of course, be in the Discord answering questions. And this show will be back tomorrow, Friday night fireworks with me, Boynton, and Stats. That'll be premium only, though. So you do got to sign up over at Run Pure Sports. Use promo code DC15 for that. All right, that'll do it for Mangone. I'm DC. We're out of here.